Coming up first is Haunted Flight. This one comes from a user named Melody Zaragoza. She was flying on a plane one day when all of a sudden the unexpected happened. The screens and lights in the plane all glitched out. They flashed on and off almost like they were being hijacked or hacked into. Maybe a UFO was flying near to this plane and caused a disturbance. Or maybe it was simply an issue with the electronics in the aeroplane. On TikTok, her caption said the flight was not fun. I'm not sure what's worse, an alien hijacking your plane or the electricity not working in it. What do you guys think is going on in this bizarre flight video? Coming up next is Abandoned House. One day, an American TikTok user named Brandy Sawyer was exploring an abandoned house. Her and her friends walked over to it, but were freaked out before they even went inside. The house is in a rural area in the middle of nowhere with nothing around it. But Brandy and her friends are creeped out by the top right hand window. Check out this version I enhanced, and inside the window you can clearly see someone. You can tell it's not simply a reflection because the other windows don't have anyone in them. To me, it looks like a very pale face of a young Victorian girl. Do you guys agree with me, or do you think this is something else? Brandy and her friends did not enter the house because they were too scared after seeing this. And I do not blame them. I would not be returning to that house. Without a camera, that is. You have to get those TikTok views somehow. Coming up next is Shadow Demon. This is one TikTok which is bound to give you nightmares. It comes from a user named Blissfully Ironic. Most of his content is comedy TikToks. But one night, him and a friend caught something scary on camera. He heard something outside his house, so he began recording through the window. He kept hearing it though, so he grabbed a flashlight and went outside. At first, he thought him and his friend were being too loud and his neighbor was complaining. But as he pans around with a flashlight, something scary is waiting for him. As you can see, a dark figure pokes their head out and then puts it back behind a building. Some say this was some kind of shadow demon or ghost, but personally I think it's more likely this is a burglar or someone trying to rob him. Lots of burglars do stalk out houses wearing morph suits. This is so no one can give a description of them to the police. But what do you guys think? Paranormal, burglar, or something else? Next up is Ghost Woman. This scary TikTok is from Jordan Dreyer. One stormy night, him and his friend were driving down a highway. That's when they see a woman dressed in all white in the middle of the road. Jordan begins filming, wondering what's going on. Jordan and his friend are clearly scared, as you can hear in the audio. But as they get close to her, she stops moving and looks right at them. Her white dress is moving around in the storm, and it kind of looks like a wedding dress to me. Maybe this is a depressed bride who got stood up. Or maybe this is a ghost or paranormal spirit. Some are saying this may not be a human because it doesn't look like she's got a face. All I can see is a grey blur. But maybe that's because he was filming at night with a phone, which is not the best quality. What do you think went down on that scary night? Coming up next is Haunted Apartment. This one comes from a TikTok user named RV Godoy, and it seems like he has a slight paranormal problem inside his apartment. The video begins with him breathing heavily and closing a door. He's also got all of his lights turned off and he's using the flashlight on his cell phone's camera. You hear a slight banging outside the door and then he runs off. The guy takes a deep breath and then opens the door to take a look. And that is when the truly paranormal happens. The door swings open and you can see no one was on the other side of the door. Personally, I think this guy's apartment may be haunted. Or perhaps this is carefully staged. I'm not sure how the door opened though without anyone being on the other side. Let me know what you guys think down below. Coming up next is Grandma's Basement. You may think of your grandmother's house as filled with love and great baking, but have you ever been down to your grandparents' basement? Well, this TikTok user did, and he regretted it soon after. He was taking a look at his grandparents' basement, getting something for them. He's filming because he's using his phone's camera as a flashlight. He sees the creepy looking scarecrow down there, but eventually he finds the food his grandmother wanted and turns around to go back upstairs. However, as he turns around, there is a figure holding what appears to be a hammer. I've enhanced this and it seems like it's probably his grandfather. Or maybe it's an unknown figure, we don't know because the video ends right there. It begs the question though, why on earth did his grandfather creep up on him with a hammer? This kind of reminds me of the movie The Visit, where some people's grandparents want to take them out. What do you guys think of this very eerie footage? Next up is Ghostface. Facial recognition technology is amazing, but it's also at times very terrifying. In a similar way to Instagram and Snapchat, TikTok also allows you to put filters on your face. One day a TikTok user named Kayla was doing this, but things went very wrong. Her filter detected her face, but then another face right next to her. Maybe the camera picked up on a spirit or a face she couldn't see. It also kind of looks like it's superimposing a face on her bed. Many people who capture photos of ghosts say they don't see them in real life. They only witness the ghost when the photo's been taken and they go back to review it. So maybe that's what happened here in real time. Some say maybe Kayla arranged her bed so that TikTok thought it was a face. But these apps are very smart and can usually tell the difference between a face and something else. What do you guys think is going on here? And finally, we have paranormal video. This TikTok is super scary and was recorded in a road. A bunch of cars were stopped at a stoplight when someone notices something strange. As you can see, this driver's head is moving, but his reflection in the mirror is not.
Look at that, his face just moved, but the guy in the mirror is seeing the same.
Maybe this guy has a fake mirror, but I find that very unlikely. Mirrors are supposed to be direct reflections. So it makes no sense that this guy moves in real life but not in the mirror. The TikToker ends the video by saying there's a glitch in the Matrix.
The Matrix is broken.
And after watching these videos, I happen to agree. It seems like even apps as innocent as TikTok have a dark side. Tall Demon. This one comes from the United Kingdom, and it was filmed by an amateur YouTuber who wanted to show off his new bike. It was a grey, foggy morning in the UK countryside. The man rides his bike down the road when all of a sudden his camera picks up something strange. You may not realise it at first, but look in the field behind the hedge. As you can see, there's a tall, dark figure walking around. Now, look in proportion to the trees, this is clearly not a human being. Whatever it is a lot taller than any human. It kind of reminds me of the creepypasta Slenderman. The man appears to be lingering, as if it's hard for him to walk. But this looks like some kind of demon from another realm to me. Of course, no one except this man is about to see it. And even he didn't see this until he brought the footage back home and saw it on his computer. The man goes on to talk about his new bike and how good it is to ride. But the only thing anyone who watches this will be interested in is what's going on behind him. Whatever it is, it's incredibly creepy. The long figure appears to be wearing a black suit of some sort. And creepily at one point he even appears to stop and look at the biker. Perhaps enough people believing or talking about Slenderman has turned him into a real thing. Or perhaps this is a demon haunting the countryside of England. Cave Demon. If there's one place you'll find creepy creatures, it's inside caves. One day a couple of friends were exploring a cave system. Armed with only flashlights and a video camera, they entered the cave. The two men who were in Colombia walk around the cave for quite some time. But that's when they stumble across what looks like some kind of rock. If you look closely, it looks like the side profile of an alien. But then, as one of the explorers puts his flashlight to it, it moves. You can see this bizarre creature was sleeping inside the cave. Some believe this could have been a man wearing a mask. But look at the creature's arms. This is clearly not a human being. The men are fascinated, but way too terrified. And they soon run straight out of the cave. Roof Demon. This video comes from Nuevo Laredo in Mexico. In 2015, someone kept hearing loud noises on their roof. Whenever they went out to check, they saw nothing. They thought it could be some kind of interesting rare animal or maybe a person. So they grabbed their camera and laid in wait. That was when they heard the noise on their roof yet again. They ran outside with their camera, and that's when they caught something terrifying. After some loud banging on his roof and birds flying away scared, he turns around. This is when he sees a red demon creature on his roof. This is obviously not a human being because its head and neck look way too strange. The creature's neck and head looks elongated and thin, and it appears to have a reddish color like a demon. You can actually hear the person filming gasp in terror. The man literally freezes in shock until the demon hops off. I have no idea what this humanoid creature could possibly be. After he scrambled over the roof, the guy ran inside his house again. The strange thing is, the demon seems just as scared as the man. And since this was recorded, the man has never seen this demon again. Demon Skeleton. In some countries and cultures, people believe that the souls of deceased children can come back to life. For example, this is belief in countries like Indonesia. Well, this video may prove that. This video comes from Indonesia. and as you can see, a skeleton appears to be walking around. I have no idea how this is happening. This is literally a doll of a girl made of wood, and as you can see, there's no mechanism making it walk. It seems to be holding this man's hand and walking around. If I saw this, I would think I was having a hallucination, but no, this may well be a real demon come to life. Can you explain this absolutely bizarre phenomena? The strange thing is, this isn't the only time this has happened. Other videos also from Indonesia show skeletons walking around. It appears these created dolls may actually not be dolls, but in fact demons or a living being. Do you think this is really someone who's not alive being reanimated and coming back to life? Or do you think there's some kind of trickery going on which we can't work out? Honestly, I don't know which explanation is more scary. Albino demon. This video was caught one night in Pennsylvania, USA. One man was walking around in the forest alone. He was looking for interesting night wildlife with a flashlight. He hears leaves rumbling around, so he knows an animal is nearby. That's when he moves his flashlight onto something totally terrifying. As you can see, some kind of albino demon appears to be seen in the woods. It looks right at him for about 1 second and then runs off. The man then gasps and says, "What was that?" One thing which is consistent in all of these videos is the demon appears to be very afraid. You'd think they'd come after the humans in some way, but it seems people and demons are just as afraid of each other. What's creepy is it appears to move very silently. Some say this could be some kind of albino Sasquatch, but that again would be mythical and creepy. What do you guys think this is? Road demon. This video was captured in the United States. A few friends are driving around one night having a good time, but that's when they see something pretty creepy in the road. Some kind of red demon creature appears to chase after their car.
Get that world stop! I know he's too fast, bro.
At first, they're laughing and they can't believe what they're seeing. But when they realize how fast this thing can run, they get scared. I don't think this is a person because I've never seen a human run like that.
Get that world stop! I know he's too fast, bro.
The friends are seriously creeped out and scared, but they also seem pretty excited, probably because they feel protected as they're in a car. The guy who filmed this posted it on Facebook and it soon went viral. They then turn the car around and drive back to get a better view of this guy. They then turn the car around and circle back to get a better view of this thing. And that's when you can see his superhuman eyes. Whatever this is, it does not have normal eyes and they appear to be glowing. Human eyes do not reflect light in this way. That's because of the macula at the back of our eye. This is like a protective layer in the back of our eyes. However, some animals do actually have reflective eyes. Shine a light in your dog or cat's eyes and you'll see it reflecting back. So perhaps whatever this thing is more of an animal than a human. Plain demon. You don't want to see a demon wherever you are, but surely one of the scariest places to see one is on an empty airplane. One day a supervisor from a Mexican airline was on board an airplane. The Aeromexico supervisor was checking the plane, making sure it was ready for the next day. He's checking it out with a flashlight when he hears a noise, so he pulls out his phone's camera. He walks down the aisle when he hears something behind him and turns around. He then looks to the far end of the plane, and that's when he sees something that makes him realize he's not alone. As you can see, some kind of shadowy creature puts its head around the corner. The supervisor instantly is freaked out and runs off the airplane. It seems like whatever this thing is did not have any face. Perhaps it's some kind of shadowy demon. The even scarier thing is, I'm sure this plane has been used since. This means next time you board an Aeromexico flight, you may be sharing it with a demon. If any Aeromexico flights go down or go missing in the next few years, I think we really need to investigate this clip more. Hallway demon. This footage comes from a surveillance camera inside an office building. It was caught at 2:30 in the morning when no one's in, and it was only recorded because the camera turns on when something moves. As you can see, some kind of shadowy being moves around on the floor. It then stops for a second and then rises upwards. It made absolutely no sound, and it also didn't seem to enter from any doors or windows. Could this be some kind of shape-shifting demon? Or maybe it's a shadow person that you hear about in urban legends. This kind of reminds me of the dark, ghostly figure we saw in the airplane video before. But what do you think this paranormal thing could possibly be? Shadow demon. This video comes from a YouTuber named Suspect Sky. Him and his wife keep hearing noises around their home. They hear something from inside their small closet, so they open it up. They're prepared for something to leap out, but nothing does. They're relieved and then decide to leave their home. But when they looked at the video later, they saw something was in fact in their home. As you can see, a dark, shadowy figure is just waiting there. They didn't see this in real life, and only saw it after they reviewed the footage later. Again, this looks like the plane demon or maybe the hallway demon from before. But what do you think this could possibly be? Blue fireball. This one was caught in 2017 in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's actually a live stream from the official Phoenix City camera. The camera appears to catch a whitish blue fireball in the night sky. It appears out of seemingly nowhere in the sky. At first it's white, but then it flashes blue as it gets bigger, and then just like that it flashes and disappears. There also seems to be a smaller fireball next to it, or maybe it's just further away. So this was caught on the official Phoenix City camera, but many also caught it on their own personal cameras and phone cameras. Some say this was a covert military experiment, and others say it's a sign of alien life. But frankly, there's been no explanation given, so we'll just have to guess right now. Some said this could be a meteor, but that was ruled out. The fireballs were seen at 5:33 in the morning, and they lit up the entire city sky and baffled everyone in it. Floating city. We've heard of mystical cities which have been lost in time. For example, Atlantis, which is said to be a lost underwater city. But what if there was a lost city not underwater but instead above us in the clouds? Well, on the 7th of October in 2015, that's exactly what people in China caught. These videos were recorded in Foshan, China, and it seems a mirage of a city can be seen in the sky. It kind of looks like an old Roman walled-off city, or maybe an ancient Chinese city where they used to build large walls around their castles. People recording this were totally stunned as it only lasted a few minutes. Then all of a sudden it just disappeared. Some say this is a secret city only the top elite of the world know about. Personally, I'm skeptical. Maybe it was simply a coincidence in the clouds. But some say this looks way too much like a real-life floating city for it to be just a coincidence in the sky. Some in China call this Fata Morgana. This is basically a very vivid mirage. Some also say it may be part of the Blue Beam Project, or HARP. These are real weather control experiments the US government carries out. And it's also known that other governments do this too, for example in France, Saudi Arabia, Russia and China. But the question is, could the HARP project really create a fake mirage of a city in the sky? Electric fireballs. This one was captured a few years back in Canada. In the sky there are two yellow glowing balls. They also seem to be attached to each other by some kind of electric bolt. The bizarre thing is, these things are emitting some kind of smoke or steam. Maybe this is some kind of weather control experiment. Or maybe it's an electrical malfunction in the world. As you can see, the electric bolt has some kind of current coming off it. What do you think these electric bolts could possibly be? Spherical clouds. This is a bizarre sighting which has been seen all over Japan recently. Last week, bizarre pictures were shared all over social media from Japan. These large spherical clouds were hovering over the city of Fujisawa, which is south of Tokyo. The cloud was like a snowball floating in the sky, but right after people saw it and started taking photos, it faded into nothing. Many different people all around the city took photos of this, so it's definitely real. But what exactly is this thing? Some say it may be a rare form of cloud known as a roll cloud. But roll clouds are usually not in perfect spherical lumps. One atmospheric scientist from the University of Melbourne in Australia said he didn't know what this thing was. Many say it looked similar to the fog dome, which was captured in Wales. This is another unexplained cloud phenomena, but are the two linked? Was this some kind of weather experiment or a natural phenomena which we can't explain? Hell cloud. How do you know that you're no longer in Kansas? It's probably when you look up at the sky and see a cloud from hell. This was seen in 2017 in Brazil. It was seen in the town of Terceira de Freitas. The cloud looks like an apocalyptic V sign, and it seems to be pointing right down at a house. The cloud is glowing a bright red color, and I'm not sure where this cloud came from. It seems to just fade into nothingness. Some even said it looked like a red claw coming down from the sky. It was only seen for 5 minutes until it disappeared. But residents in the Brazilian village were terrified of this. Some see it as the end of the world, while others give it a more positive spin and say it's a work of God reaching out to them. I'm not sure what I would think if I saw this in the sky, but I probably would be freaked out. Just imagine if it was your house this red cloud is pointing right down on. You'd think you'd been chosen for something, good or bad. Alien plume. In 2017, California residents were sure that they saw alien life in the sky. Just under the moon, there was a gigantic white trail of light. It then expanded into some kind of plume and caused another big light ball. It doesn't seem like anything man could actually make, but it was. Some thought it was a nuke from North Korea, and others thought it was an alien UFO. But all of this was actually debunked by Elon Musk on Twitter. He tweeted the video and jokingly wrote, "Nuclear alien UFO from North Korea." This was a joke because it was actually from a SpaceX rocket. What you're seeing is a cloud of frozen crystals of water. This is the exhaust path marking a SpaceX rocket which was sent to Mars. This left a result of condensation contrails in the sky. The strange light looked so odd, many people began calling the fire department and police. Sadly, it wasn't a UFO, but thankfully it wasn't a nuke. NASA rockets can actually sometimes leave wiggly contrails as they leave the atmosphere. And this is basically what we saw here, except SpaceX's launch was at night. Black ring. We're all familiar with the concept of angels having a glowing yellow halo above their heads. But if that's the case for angels, maybe the devil has a black ring. This was caught in 2015 in Kazakhstan. In the sky above their village seems to be a gigantic black ring of smoke. It floated for about 15 minutes and then simply vanished. Is this the world's best shisha trick? Or is this some kind of evidence of aliens or the devil? Sometimes these black rings happen when a firework is tested. And this has also been seen in Chicago, USA when an electrical transformer blew up. But we don't know what's going on in this clip from Kazakhstan. I can't make head or tail of how this black smoke ring is breaking the laws of physics. The guy who uploaded this said nothing had happened which would have caused this ring. So maybe this is some kind of portal to another world. Maybe hell. Face. This unbelievable footage was captured in 2011 in New Brunswick, Canada. It was right by the Grand Falls, which is one of Canada's finest waterfalls. One guy looked up at the sky and could not believe what he was seeing. As you can see, there's a very vivid face in the sky. Now, this is not the first time nature has presented faces. For example, in China, there are rock formations which, from a satellite view, look like a face. Is this some kind of higher power communicating with us humans? Maybe this is proof that giants actually exist. As the face moves forward, it gets more and more detailed. I can't believe that this is simply a coincidence. There's the forehead, eyebrows, eye sockets, nose, cheek, lips, and chin. And it even looks like an ear may be forming on the side of this face. Even George Isaac, who is a cloud scientist, was confused by this. All he could say to it is that clouds come in different shapes and sizes. But what do you think's going on in this bizarre clip? Orange sky. What would you do if the sky suddenly turned bright orange? You may think that you'd stumbled into the fiery depths of hell. But no, this actually happened in Russia in 2013. Someone was driving one night in Sverdlovsk. That is when all of a sudden the pitch black sky turned bright orange. The sky flashed an orangey red color and then turned bright yellow. This only happened for about 30 seconds and then it went back to being pitch black. But it freaked out all of the drivers on this road. Some say this was a military exercise, but there's no bases near this area. And there was also no sound of an explosion or a missile going off. Some also thought this could be a meteor, but no meteors were found in the area. And also there's no comet, it's simply the sky lighting up. Chelyabinsk event. The Chelyabinsk event took place in Russia. On the morning of the 15th of February 2013, something amazing was seen in the sky. It was caught on many Russian drivers' dash cams as they were heading to work. As you can see, the sunrise sky is suddenly lit up by a gigantic meteor. The glowing white light takes up the entire sky and blinds anyone who looks at it. It then fizzles out and lands in a forest area. Pedestrians crossing the road can be seen looking at it in awe. The meteor was the largest meteor to ever hit Earth. It also caused a large shockwave which caused over 1,500 injuries. There was also 7,200 buildings which were damaged. Factories collapsed and windows shattered. It produced as much infrared sound and seismic energy as 500 kilotons of TNT. That's around 33 atomic bombs like the ones dropped on Hiroshima. Scientists called this meteor a wake-up call. That's because we're really not ready for something like this hitting a city. Just imagine if this struck somewhere larger like Moscow, London, or New York. It could potentially cause a lot of people to lose their lives. Who knows, maybe the USA's new Space Force could work on destroying meteors before they hit Earth. But right now we're at the mercy of space. Jesus' eyes. This video was captured in Coahuila de Zaragoza in Mexico. In 2016, a tourist was inside a church in the town. In the video, you can hear people praying in the background. But when the camera moves over to the Jesus statue, its eyes move. The cameraman showed this to the people who run the church. They actually called in an investigation team. They tried to work it out and make the statue move its eyes again, but they couldn't. However, they did analyze the footage and they realized it's not fake at all. The man had not even moved the footage of his camera onto a computer to edit. Do you think this is a good sign, maybe a miracle? Or do you think it's bad that Jesus' eyes are moving over to this camera? Personally, it would really freak me out. Egyptian statue. We all know that ancient Egypt is full of mysteries. Many things are still unexplained, for example how the pyramids were built in this way. And there are even tombs which have never been opened inside the Great Sphinx of Giza. But all of those mysteries pale in comparison to this Egyptian statue. This very small 10-inch Egyptian statue can be found at Manchester Museum. One night, the museum's surveillance team caught something strange happening on camera. During the evening when the museum was open and also when it closed, the statue was moving all by itself. Now, most people did not realize this because it moved so slowly. It's like watching the hour hand on a clock, you don't see it moving in real time. But as you can see from this sped up security footage, it clearly is moving. The statue is of an ancient Egyptian named Neb-Sanu. It's over 4,000 years old, so maybe it's got some kind of ancient Egyptian curse. There's clearly no people or contraption moving this statue. That's because it's encased in thick, reinforced glass. Jesus Parade. Sometimes during religious processions and parades, people bring along statues of holy figures. This is exactly what happened during a procession in 2016. It took place in Saltillo, northeast Mexico. As you can see, this statue of Jesus appears to be blinking and moving its head around. This was during a parade which was going on thanks to a Catholic holiday. All of the people at the parade and people who saw it online were stunned, and many said it could be a miracle. I'm not sure if a moving statue of Jesus is a good sign or a bad sign. What do you think? Some skeptics online said it could be an optical illusion, but this does not look like an optical illusion to me. The creepy thing is, the movements look so natural, almost as if the statue really has come to life. Blinking Buddha. Buddha statues can be found all around the world. The Buddha is a very holy figure in Hinduism. Well, in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, several Buddha statues have been seen moving. This took place inside the Pujan Service Center. They were blinking but also moving their hands, their mouths, and chests. Amazingly, they also appeared to be emitting some kind of light source somehow. The miracle was witnessed by over 100 people who were at the service center. They were going in for regular prayers, but did not expect to see this miracle take place before their very eyes. These Buddha statues are made of metal and then gold-plated. So there's no way to put a mechanism inside this to make it move. Do you think the statues were trying to warn us of something? Or perhaps it was a miracle and they were spreading joy? Again, skeptics did say this could be an optical illusion, but it does not look like that to me. The Crone of the Catskills. In 2016, a few friends went hiking in the Catskill Mountains. These are a bunch of scenic mountains located in southeastern New York. That's when they saw a light source coming from a cave. They soon realized there was a fire inside the cave. Next to the fire, they found a mysterious statue with nails in its eyes and a noose around its neck. This led the men to think there must have been some kind of ritual going on here. The statue is quite clearly a voodoo statue. Voodoo statues are things that people do bad things to. They then hope those same things will happen to their enemies. It's likely that it was left over from some kind of satanic ritual because it was right next to a fire. One of the men decided to take the statue home with them, but they had to get rid of it pretty quickly because they realized it would move around by itself. It also had a bad smell to it and would even wake him up in the middle of the night. Perhaps this voodoo statue was somehow cursed by whoever made it. Weeping Mary. This one takes place in Los Naranjos, Argentina. In 2017, the owner of a Virgin Mary statue realized its eyes were weeping red liquid. This was a privately owned statue in a family chapel. This happened just before Lent period, and they took it as a sign that the Virgin Mary may want people to give things up for Lent. They got an expert in, but could not determine what the red liquid was. Eventually, the statue was moved to a local Catholic church where the whole village could come and see it. The liquid came out of the statue's eyes and actually got onto the priest's clothing. The priest, Ricardo Quigora, contacted the media about this. And before long, people were making a pilgrimage to see this statue. This is usually to pray to the statue and ask for its blessings. Snow White. We all know the character Snow White from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but one theme park in Mexico has a very scary Snow White statue. It already looks creepy on its own, but as you can see, when the cameraman is filming Snow White, she blinks. This totally freaks out the cameraman and he runs away. Now, some have said this could be a mechanism inside the statue, but the statues look so basic and badly painted. Why would they bother putting in a mechanism to make her blink? Also, no one's actually been able to debunk this video, so as far as I know, it's real. But even if the statue doesn't move, it's still incredibly scary. Sai Baba. Sai Baba was an Indian spiritual master. He is revered by both Hindus and Muslims alike. He lived from 1836 to 1918, but he's remembered in the form of many statues. That includes this statue caught on a CCTV camera at night. This was inside a Hindu place of prayer, but one camera at night caught it moving its arm around. It seems like the statue wanted to remove a decoration hanging from it. Maybe Sai Baba did not like this decoration. Island Virgin Marys. This one takes place in Ireland, which is a very religious country. The BBC report this took place all the way back in the summer of 1985. Statues in various different counties in Ireland began moving all by themselves. This happened at about 30 different locations. Many thought this was some kind of sign from Virgin Mary, maybe a miracle. The first of these moving statues was caught in Ballinspittle in Cork County. The Ballinspittle statue was even said to levitate and move around the church's garden, but that statue later got destroyed thanks to protesters. Nodding Jesus. This one takes place in Jalisco, Mexico. One day at the Church of Santa Ana, people caught something amazing on camera. During Mass, the statue of Jesus began nodding its head. The statue is normally in a glass coffin, but it was taken out because it was Good Friday and they were celebrating. Maybe this was the statue agreeing with what the Mass was saying, or perhaps it was a Good Friday miracle. This was caught on camera and everyone at the church was stunned. Ever since then, the churchgoers have been trying to work out what exactly the statue was trying to say. Crying Mary. This is another moving Virgin Mary statue, and it comes from southeast Mexico. This Virgin Mary statue is said to weep tears from her eyes. It's kind of like the previous Virgin Mary statue that cried red liquid, only this time the liquid is clear like tears. This led to many people going on pilgrimages to visit the statue. Many go to the statue and cry with her in the hopes of being healed. Some say this could be a miracle, while others say the statue is possessed. If you want some more amazing videos, then check out my second channel. But as always, thanks for watching. There are some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.